Hi, year 8. Welcome to Clock Project Lesson 3. Obviously, if you haven't done Lesson 1 or 2 yet, then please go back and try those first. So first of all, a bit of a recap of what we've done previously. So we've now had a good look at our clock mechanism. We've already made the main body, and we've started to replicate the mounting bracket in Inventor. And then, as you can see on here, we're going to be trying to copy the whole thing. So the next parts for today are going to be a few tiny pieces of hardware that are going to help to join the mechanism together. So we're going to do 3 separate parts during today's lesson, all fairly straightforward, all quite small parts, so should easily be done by the end of today's lesson. So let's have a look at which ones we're going to be doing today. And it's going to be these 3 up here. So we've got the rubber washer, the metal washer, and the metal nut. And between all of those, they help hold on the wall mounting bracket onto the main body, and they will also attach the clock face to the main part of the clock as well. So really important pieces, but hopefully pretty straightforward to put together. Now, if we have a look on the engineer's drawing, it's going to be these 3 components in the middle. So make sure you've got your engineer's drawing ready, because these sizes are going to be incredibly important. So let's go on to Inventor. Now, you should have loaded it already. Once again, if you can't remember how to load Inventor, or if you get stuck, there are some hints and tricks on video number 1. So make sure you go back and have another look at that one. Now, we're going to start off today by making the metal washer. It's quite a straightforward component, should only take us a couple of minutes. So let's start by doing that one first. Once again, same as always, we're going to start a new part. So we're going to click straight on there. And same as before, we're going to start a 2D sketch first, and we're going to use the XY plane as we have for the previous components. Once sketch mode loads up, we're going to use the circle tool to create 2 circles in the middle of our page. Don't forget, you can start in the center by finding where the green dot appears, where those 2 lines cross. To get out of that tool, you just right click and go OK. And now we can use the dimension tool to set these circles to the right size. So the outside circle, the bigger circle, is going to be 14. And the smaller circle is going to be 9. And you can find both of these dimensions are on your engineer's drawing. So you can see on here, outside diameter 14, inside diameter of 9. And if we have a look, the thickness of this is 0.40, not 40. You can see there's a little dot there that says point. So make sure it's 0.4 millimeters. Then to create this part, we just need to go to Finish Sketch and then Extrude. And we're just going to extrude that sort of donut shape for the washer. And remember, the size here is 0.40. And then we're going to click OK. And that is it. That's how easy that one was. Probably the simplest part you'll ever create. Little flat 2D washer. And what we'll do now is we'll quickly save that, and then we'll get straight on to making the next component. So as before, File, Save As. Make sure you're in your Year 8 Clock Project folder. Don't forget, you can get there by using the drop-down menu. Click on your name, Documents, down to your Technology folder, in the Year 8 Clock Project folder, and then we're just going to call this Clock Metal, let's use some capital letters, Metal Washer, and then we're going to save that one. Job done. We'll leave that one open. We can have that in the background, because we're now going to have a go at making the next component, which is the metal nut. Same sort of idea, won't take us too long. But this time, of course, we've got the hexagon shape around the outside that we need to make, and then the hole on the inside. So let's have a little look at making that one now. Now, if you've got a part open like we do right now, you can just go to File and then New, and it'll bring up this option. Now, it may look a little bit confusing. It may seem like you've got too many options here to pick from. If you're making a part, we're always going to go for standard.ipt. So click on that one, go down to the bottom and click Create. And this will create a brand new blank part file that we can use for making the metal nut. We're now going to start a new sketch. As always, it's going to be on the XY plane. And now we can begin. We'll start off by creating the circle first, because that's nice and easy. So you know how to create a circle by now. You click in the center, drag and click. We'll right click and go OK to get out of the circle tool, because we don't always want to stay in that one. We'll then go to dimension, click the circle, and if you look on your drawing, you'll see that the circle needs to be 8 millimeters. That's the easy one right there. You can then, don't finish the sketch just yet. We're going to still work in the same sketch for now. Now to create a hexagon, we need to go to the rectangle tool, and if you see this little arrow underneath, you can then click to bring up all of these options. And it's the bottom one here that says polygon. That's the one we're going to need. Now, a bit of a link to maths for you here. I'm hoping you all know that hexagons have 6 sides. You then start in the middle again, and you're going to drag a line straight up along this vertical line, and this will drag the hexagon up. You then click, and you can hit done to get out of the polygon tool. The last thing we need to do before we extrude is set the size of this hexagon, and you need to do this bit exactly as I do it here, otherwise you can get it wrong and it will be the wrong size. So what I'm going to do is click the dimension tool. I'm then going to click just the dot at the top of the hexagon. I'm then going to click the dot in the center, and I'm going to then move the mouse over to one side and click. And this new dimension we've just created needs to be 6. You then hit enter or click the green tick, and that changes our hexagon to the right size. The last thing we do for the metal nut is go finish sketch. We then extrude it using the extrude tool. Now you might need to just make sure you click on just the outside edge. If it doesn't let you select it, zoom in, and it will. And then we're going to change the dimension here, and again it says it on your engineer's drawing. We're going to go for 2.25 millimeters, and then click OK. And that is all we need to do for the metal nut part of our clock assembly. As before, we're going to click File and Save As. We're then going to save it in the same folder. I'm hoping you know how to get there by now. And you're going to call this clock metal nut. And then just click Save. So we're now going to move on to the final part of our hardware section for today. And we're going to have a go at creating the rubber washer. Now this one, we're going to use a slightly different set of skills for this. So make sure you're paying close attention to what we're about to do. So as before, we're going to go and create a new part by clicking File, New, and making sure we click on standard.ipt. And now we're going to do this in a slightly different way, because we're going to eventually use the revolve tool up here. It's one you might not have used before, but it's a really handy one to know how it works. But it always starts in exactly the same way with a 2D sketch, and of course we're going to use that XY plane to get things going. We're then going to use the line tool, and you're going to create a shape that looks just like what I'm doing now. You're going to start off in the center. You're going to click and drag a line up to the top. We're then going to go across to the left, down, across. We'll then go down to the bottom line, and then we're going to join that back up with the center, and then you can right click and go OK. That's the easier bit. What we're now going to do is start adding in some dimensions. The first one I'm going to add is to this vertical line. So remember, it's click, drag and click. And we're going to make that one 1.75 millimeters. The line on the left, we're going to change to 0.75. Fairly straightforward so far. We're then going to change the two top lines. So we're going to change this one to 7. And we're going to change this one to 7 as well. Now what we can do is finish the sketch and go to the revolve tool. If we click the revolve tool, we can then see we've already selected our profile, and we're going to select this edge right here in the middle as our axis. And if you click this and click OK, you can see it's now made the shape of the washer. The last step now is to create the hole that goes through the middle. And we're going to do that by clicking on the top so that we can view it from the top. We'll then start a new sketch on the circle on the inside. We've used the circle tool many times before, so we're going to start a circle right in the center. We'll then set the dimension of that circle to 8. We can then finish the sketch, extrude and cut using the one with the red box, and then click OK. And that is the rubber washer designed. As before, we're going to go File, Save As, making sure we're in the Year 8 clock project folder, and we're going to call it Clock Rubber Washer, and then click Save. Once again, that is everything now for this lesson. So we've now got the hardware. We've also in previous lessons made the mounting bracket and the main body. Next time we can start designing the clock hands, and then we can look at putting it all together in one assembly.